Hi guys, UK Guns here. So in this video I'm just going to be introducing you to one of my rifles. You've seen on the channel a few times, but it's a question I get cropping up from time to time. I mostly get questions about AR-15s in the UK. Are you allowed AR-15s? Those kinds of things. The short answer is just yes. I've made a video on AR-15s in the UK in which this was in that. So I'll leave that in the description below as well. But I just thought I would show you my full bore AR-15. Now what does that mean? It means that this is chambered in 223 Remington, which is virtually the same as 5.56. So this is more like what you would think of when you think of an AR-15. There are other types, and I've got one other that I'll show you. And I don't want to go sort of remake the video I've already made, which is AR-15s in the UK, but specifically around this rifle, because I sometimes get questions about what is this rifle, where did I get it from, those kinds of things. So I thought I would just talk a little bit about this rifle, but it does obviously cross over with AR-15s because that's what variant this is. But essentially this rifle is an M4. Now I know there's people already furiously tapping away in the comments, it's not an M4, it's not semi-automatic or fully automatic or any of those things. Well no, of course not, but it's actually its actual name. It was made by a company called Decade Core. They no longer exist. As far as I know, they only fleetingly existed to make a few of these and then vanished off the face of the earth. But they did call it, it's called the M4A5. That's what they called it. So that is their sort of designation for it, and that's because they have styled it on obviously the M4. And in many ways it is. Of course it's not officially for the reasons I've already stated. But it has the M4 profile barrel, the M4 profile front sight, which normally would be a gas block, but obviously this is not a gas block. As you can see, there's no gas system. It has pretty much everything that you would see on an M4, except for the fact that of course it's not semi-automatic, and that's just because of UK law. Again, I'm not going to get too much into that, because if you're interested in that, I talk about it in AR-15s in the UK, and also I've made another video on what is a straight pull rifle. That's what this is. So you can go ahead and watch that video on what is a straight pull rifle and why. But essentially this is a UK legal M4. That's what this is. This is as close as you'll get in the UK to an M4 if you want it to be full bore. So if you want it to be 2.2, you can have it semi-automatic, and you could, you know, knock something up very, very similar. But essentially that's what this is. So as I say, it's 223 Remington, which a lot of AR-15s in the US are chambered in 223. So basically it's the same. And from what I can tell about Decade Core, who made this rifle, is that's essentially what they did. They imported these from the US, obviously without a gas system, but the barrel and certainly the receivers were made in the US from what I could tell. Decade Core didn't make their own rifles. They basically brought in the parts and then obviously stamped and got them proofed for the UK market. But they, from what I can tell, they didn't have a factory, so they didn't make them themselves. They just assembled them in the UK. So these are essentially off-the-shelf parts from America. Now, obviously, this rifle has been modified. I've made some modifications since even I got it. When it originally came, it did have like the standard A1 stock and pistol grip, and it had a Magpul plastic handguard on it. I've swapped all that out, and I'll talk about some of the bits that I've done to this rifle in a moment. But other than that, obviously, this was how it was when it came from Decade Core. Oh, apart from the muzzle as well. But I'll talk about that in a moment. So the bits I've put on this rifle, essentially, I've got a Magpul SL stock on here. I've got a Visim slimline grip. It does have an upgraded trigger, but it had that when I got it. So I don't honestly know if it came with that from Decade Core, because it was second hand when I got it. I assume the previous owner put that in himself, but I didn't get like another trigger with it or anything, so I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it came like that from the factory. I'm not sure. But it's a very light trigger, very, very light trigger. It's a very nice trigger. Probably not one I'd want on a semi-auto, because it is very, very light. Very nice to shoot, but it's fine for a straight pull. But for a semi-auto, I'd probably want something with a bit more of a positive click, a little bit more of a bit more heft to it, really. If I was try and show you, it's hard to really show a trigger pull on camera, but I'll do it to this camera here so you can just sort of see. Tiny bit of take up, and then it's a nice crisp break. Very, very nice trigger, like I say, very lovely, but certainly not one I'd want on a semi-auto, I think. And then so I put a different handguard on here. So this is just an M-LOK handguard, 7-inch, I think. And then I put the angled foregrip on there, put this torch on there. It does have a sling on a couple of QD mounts. That's because I do CSR, so that can come in handy sometimes for that. And then it does have a compensator, or a muzzle brake if you like, on there. That's a Hera Arms muzzle brake. Very, very nice. Not that 223 really has a huge amount of recoil anyway, but it's a nice, smart bit of kit. I really like the M4 profile barrel on this. It looks really smart. It is the M4 length as well. I think it's 13 inches or 13.1 inches. Don't quote me on that. Maybe if you know, leave a comment below, but I'm pretty sure it's 13.1 inches on the barrel. And then, oh, also I put an ambidextrous charge handle on there. It originally came with a Hera Arms like side charging handle, but I didn't really get on with it, so I prefer this kind of Raptor style charging handle, which I got on the back there. And then the optic is a low power variable optic. It's a Vortex Strike Eagle 1-6, which is a really, really great optic, especially for this kind of rifle, the distances I shoot it at. For things like CSR, having that variable optic from 1 power all the way up to 6 power is really, really great. So yeah, this is essentially UK Legal M4. So you know, the reason why I say I'm making this video, a few people have asked is, what is that? How do you get one? Where does it come from? Like I say, Decade Core don't exist anymore, so you can't get this exact rifle. But there are other companies that do make UK Legal AR-15s. Not really. I haven't seen many like this in this configuration. Even when you take off all the stuff that I've done to it, with that M4 kind of profile barrel, the shorter barrel, most of them have like 16-inch barrels. They're like fluted barrels or just kind of standard AR barrels. Not many that I've seen with the A1 or the A2, I think it was, sight block. And I do also have the carry handle for this, so the rear sight. That it came with that when I got it. The carry handle that incorporates the rear sight that goes with this. So I could go to iron sights if I wanted to, but obviously I wanted to put an optic on there, so I took that carry handle off. But I do have that. It came with that. So you know, you could do that if you wanted to do something like iron sighted CSR. You can absolutely do that with this rifle. Whereas some of the other AR-15s that you get in the UK are more like the more modern ARs. You know, usually without that, they're just kind of Picatinny across the top. You might come with some, you know, battle sights or something, but generally they're expecting you to put an optic on it. And like I said, the barrel is often different as well. So I haven't seen many in this kind of configuration with, you know, set up to kind of resemble an M4. And like I say, Decade Core don't exist anymore. They were around for all of 5 minutes from what I can tell. So it's a little bit unique in that sense. It's one of the reasons why I really, really like this rifle. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. It does help out. And I know I post once in a blue moon. I think I say every time I'll post more often. I'm going to do some more content. It'll probably just be similar, just little flurries of videos when I get time to make them. But I'll do what I can. If there's something you really want to see, something you're interested in, the main reason I set up this channel is to give information to new shooters or people who are looking to get into the sport and to encourage those to do so. So if you're new or looking to get into it, or even if you're experienced, you have a question, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer questions where I can, or if I think it's worthy of a video, I'll make a video on it. Thanks for watching.